Hey folks, because we are through the looking glass now here in terms of patriotic education principles and fighting them and making sure we are fighting for honest history, we are protecting those who are practicing honest history, and that we are promoting those who want to make sure that honest history is still represented in as many places as possible so that we can get around the full frontal assault on honest history that is coming out of this administration and with its allies. I want to make sure that you can find me in a number of different places where we're going to be doing this work and how you can support that work. You can find me on Blue Sky. You can find me on YouTube. We're going to be doing a little bit longer dives. You can find me on TikTok, of course. You can find me on Instagram. And you can find me on Patreon. And the Patreon is something we're doing a little bit something different with. It's now called Revolutionary Truths with Tad Sturmer, so you can find me there. And we've added a new tier. It's mostly free, so you get everything there for a free membership. But because of the number of other things that we are doing, we're going to be doing the summer course in the public history of the American Revolution. We're going to start doing some practicums in practicing honest history, practicing honest public history, for anybody who wants to do that, to really understand. We're going to be stepping up our accountability of Task Force 250 and of all of those who are collaborating with it, so we know who is on what side of what. And what we're also doing is we're going to launch a podcast. I said I wasn't going to do it, but I also said I wasn't going to charge anything for the Patreon. But there are two reasons why we're doing both of those things. When I say charge, we have a new $5 tier called Resistance Historian that will help fund the podcast, that will help fund the practicums, that will help fund the courses, that free online courses that we're going to offer. And that we will also make sure that we are supporting others who are doing this work. So we're going to have our podcast called Resistance History that's going to cover this every week. We are putting that together right now. We are putting together our summer course on the public history of the American Revolution, and we are stepping up our accountability. So hashtag Task Force 250, we're going to be all over. Hashtag 1776 Commission, we are going to be all over, and making sure that we are protecting those who are doing this work. So those are the other places that you can not just find me, but this is about finding our community. Not everybody in this community is on Instagram. Not everybody in this community is on TikTok. They're in all of these places. And because we have a growing number of followers on all of these platforms, it's important that we create within the digital ecosystem this very clear pathway to find where everybody is. But our home, more or less, even though I have a web page, our home is really on Patreon. So you can sign up for that for free. But then there's also the new $5 Resistance Historian tier to support the other work that we're going to be doing. And that's partly because the course that I talked about, I assumed was going to generate interest for 15 people. Honestly, this has been my approach to being on social media, right? I thought that maybe 15 people would follow me, all of whom I'm related to in one way or another. But no, that interest in the summer course has turned into 1,500 people. As of last count, and that was yesterday, and there are more there today. So, in order to be able to handle that, though, we have to increase our capacity. So that's going to require a little bit some resources put into it, and then of course the podcast, which we are. I wish I could say that we are excited about. I wish I could say that it was just going to be full of interesting, fun history stuff. That's the looking glass that we're through, is that it's not any longer about sort of interesting, fun history stuff. This is about history that matters. And people have said that for a long time. We need to focus on history that matters, or just assuming it as a truism. History does matter. When we say matters, the relevance of history and the relevance of public history is the way it impacts people's lives. And it is impacting people's lives. The number of messages that I get daily from people who have lost their jobs as a result of their support for honest history, as a result of their involvement in diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives in history and within history organizations, or within academic institutions. Or the number of people who are public historians, frontline public historians, who are just scared, their words, about what's coming. because there is an unknown. Well, let's provide knowns. Let's provide something that you can rely on. And not just with me, but with my partners, with my compatriots, with your whole public history team, that we can provide that. So again, Patreon, sign up for free, and Blue Sky, Instagram, YouTube, and of course TikTok.